going on, everybody out there? This is Popular Stranger, and we are back at you again today with another Madden 23 Ultimate Team video. In today's video, we're going to be going over the best abilities you should be using right now on offense after the 6 AP update. Now, if you guys enjoy this video, if you like it, if it helps you out, make sure you go ahead and click that thumbs up button. Shows a lot of support on the channel, helps the videos get noticed. Also, if you're brand new here, you were searching on YouTube for MUT 23 content, whether it's how to make coins, how to get free players, how to build your ultimate team, you found the right channel for everything. Stay a while, click that subscribe button, turn that notification bell on as well so you guys are alerted when we drop additional videos. Let's get right on into it. So over the next 2 days, we are going to drop videos. Today we got offense, tomorrow we'll drop defense on the best abilities you should be using right now. If you guys want to see how I built my MUT team and all of the abilities that I'm using and a lot of the things we talked about in that video, we're going to go over today. We will link that video down below in the comments section as a pinned comment, but let's focus on offense today. We're going to start with the quarterback position and we'll break it down basically. So like for a quarterback, right, you have to have either set feet lead or pass lead elite. So if you look at the descriptions, pass lead elite, passers with this ability will have an increased throw power on bullet precision passes except on high and low throws, but this is anywhere, right? So you can be on the run, you can be in the pocket. Set feet lead means that you get the same thing, but your feet have to be set. So you can't be on the run, you have to only be in the pockets, you know, in a stationary position. So with that being said, pass lead elite is definitely the best, but you need to have one or the other. Set feet isn't terrible. If you can get pass lead elite for 0 or 1 AP, you're going to want to go that route, but set feet is usable. It's not a terrible ability. So you're going to need to have that. Gunslinger to me is something that feels necessary. Now there are a bunch of quarterbacks that get Slinger 1 and Slinger 3 release, which are very good. I still personally feel like you should be using Gunslinger. If you want to go without it, you certainly can. And we're using MUT.gg, by the way, here. You just go to MUT.gg /abilities and you can see what we're seeing. This shows you all of the quarterbacks that get it for 0 AP. We'll talk about the best quarterbacks in a moment for these ability setups, but that's ability number 2. So again, pass lead elite, set feet lead, and then Gunslinger. The next one's going to be Fearless, which I've gotten away without using for a very long time, but I'm now, because of even with the 6 AP update, because there's so many players that get it for 0 or 1 AP, I've been using it. This one basically is going to cause less inaccurate throws when pressure is in your face, and with everybody, you know, running man coverage and a lot of heavy blitzes is always a popular scheme when you're playing online. You're going to just be a lot better and not make as many mistakes that are not your fault sometimes with Fearless on the field. And then the final one is going to be Hot Route Master, and this one really is dependent on your scheme. Like if you need additional hot routes to run the favorite plays that you want to run, you're going to want to use this. If you don't, you don't have to use it, and that can save you 1 AP in a lot of situations. So that's what everybody calls like the quad stack or the god stack. It's going to be pass lead elite or set feet lead, and then Gunslinger, Hot Route Master, and Fearless. Now with that setup specifically, Aaron Rodgers can get all of those abilities for 2 AP, and that's why he's one of the most expensive cards in the game and one of the best, if not the best, quarterbacks in the game. Well over 1 million coins here because he can get 4 abilities for 2 AP, and with your 6 AP limit, that's obviously going to be huge. Forgive me if I miss anybody on this list, but the players or quarterbacks that can get that ability stack for 3 AP, I have Justin Herbert. You need a game changer token to do that, but he can do it. Donovan McNabb, which came out this past weekend, Tim Tebow, Steve McNair, and Joe Montana. I don't believe I'm missing anybody. I think Ken Stabler gets that for 3 AP, but he's not a card that you can go out there and buy. So those are considered the best quarterbacks in the game and the best abilities that you should be putting on your quarterbacks. For running backs, the best abilities are actually X factors, and that's going to come from those AKA players. Primarily, you want the Freight Train ability, which is going to be on Quadfather, Gus the Bus. It also works on Derrick Henry, and the other really good one is going to be the Phenom ability for Flash, which is Cordero Patterson. Basically, you break more tackles with these. It doesn't work on every single play, but it works enough to the point where it's very, very good. Even with this limit of only 6 AP on offense, I still think you're going to see a lot of people run it. Now with Quadfather, it's a little bit more expensive because you're going to need persistent, and now you're spending like half of your AP on one player that's not a quarterback, but Gus the Bus still very good, Cordero Patterson still very good, and you really only need the 1 AP. Plus, with both of those guys, they can also get short in elite for 0 AP, which is a great ability for passing the ball to your running back. So if you don't run a ton and you do find yourself passing, you want to look for a running back that can get short in elite for 0 AP. There's a ton of them. We're going to talk about it with wide receivers as well. Now, as far as like abilities for for actual runners, take this for what it is. I don't run the ball a ton. I also feel like a lot of these abilities aren't amazing. My favorite one is probably going to be Tank, and the reason that I like Tank is because you can still play on conservative, and this ability will have an impact on the field. So if you don't know what that means, you can set your coach adjustments on offense to ball carrier as conservative. This is going to severely limit your chance at fumbling. It still can happen, but it's usually rare. Now with that, you can't juke, you can't spin, you can't do stiff arms. With the Tank ability, ball carriers with this ability will break almost any hit stick tackle attempts made on them. So you can be on conservative. That's not going to stop your opponent from trying to hit stick you, and if they do, when this ability activates, it's going to help you break more tackles. If you're not concerned about fumbling and you don't play on conservative, then the best abilities for a running back are going to be Bruiser. Bruiser gives you ball carriers with this ability will have more powerful truck and stiff arm animation, so I like that it kind of gives you a little bit of both. And then you can always take a look at Evasive, which has been much better in previous years, so I would only be using this one if you have a running back that gets it for 0 AP. Like, I don't think it's good enough to spend 1 AP on, but that is a pretty good ability out there for more of the elusive backs. And then one of my favorite and underrated abilities, but only if you get it at 0 AP, is goal line back. Running backs with this ability receive improved blocking from their O-line within 5 yards of the end zone. So there was a really cheap card with the Combine promo in Bijan Robinson that got goal line back for 0 AP, and even though I had much better running backs, I would always sub him in that 5 yard line span because he would get better blocking, and it just made it easier to score running the ball in that 5 yard gap. And Gus the Bus gets that as well. So that plus the Freight Train X Factor almost makes him unstoppable within that 5 yard range, and it's going to help you score a lot of touchdowns where you might struggle. There are a lot of options as far as abilities go that you can use for your wide receivers and tight ends. I'm going to try to limit it to about 6 of them, and without a doubt, Short In and Short Out Elite are going to be top tier, and that's why Mutt.gg ranks them up there. So Short Out Elite, and you always want to look for players that can get abilities for 0 AP with this new update. Basically, Short Out Elite, the easiest way I can explain it here is that if you get press man coverage a lot, this is going to absolutely smoke it, especially when there's not safety help over the top. So we're talking about streaks, even corner routes, C routes on the outside. With Short Out Elite is definitely going to give you an advantage against press man coverage. Short In Elite, so you're going to want to use that on your outside receivers. Short In Elite is really good for slot receivers. That's where I use it, and basically any routes are going to be inside the number, so that's why it's really good on running backs for like Texas and angle routes, things like that. Receivers with this ability catch more consistently while catching passes less than 10 yards from the line of scrimmage inside the numbers. And this is almost like Short In Elite almost has like a built-in route tech to it. So if you have to make the choice between Short In Elite and route tech, you're going to want to go that route. Short Out Elite and route tech is a really good combination, and we'll talk about route tech here. Receivers with this ability have a high success rate when creating separation on the last cut of any route. So this is really good for like post routes inside the numbers that are maybe 20 yards downfield. It's just good against man coverage. It was pretty weak early in the year. I think they did a secret like patch to it, and they never really mentioned it in patch notes, that it definitely works a lot better. Now I would probably still go Short In Elite over route tech, as I said, if you got to pick one or the other, but a good combination with route tech, what I like to use is if we get like a route tech for 0 AP and then a deep out elite for 1 AP, I like going that route, and that's going to lead me to one of my other favorite abilities on wide receivers. So receivers with this ability catch more consistently passes 20 plus yards from the line of scrimmage and outside of the numbers. Basically what this one does is if you have taller receivers who run like streaks and corner routes, things of that nature, they're going to it's going to light up. They're going to catch it more even in traffic. Now don't throw too many YOLO passes out there into double coverage because you're probably going to get intercepted unless EA wants to cheat your opponent, but it works very well on aggressive catches outside the numbers down the field when it's one-on-one, sometimes in double coverage, and that's typically the setup I go with. Is I'll go Short In Elite on my slot receiver, deep out elite and route tech on my outside receivers, and you got a card like Randy Moss who gets it built in, so he can get, if you want, Short Out Elite, deep out elite, and route tech for only 1 AP. We did talk about it a moment ago with Game Changer. Amon-Ra St. Brown gets 2 of those abilities for 0 AP, and of course everybody likes the CeeDee Lamb card, which can get Short Out Elite and Short In Elite for a total of 0 AP as well, and those are the advantages you want to look for. If you have one wide receiver spot hot on a specific formation or formations that you like to have the additional hot routes, you can always take a look at like an outside apprentice, a slot apprentice, a wide receiver apprentice. But if you're paying 1 AP for it, you might as well look for quarterbacks to give you hot route master for 1 AP as well. So I really only would use those. They're very good, but they're very specific, and you should really only be using them if you get them for 0 AP. And then one other one that I don't personally use, but I know it's very good, and you can use this on tight ends and wide receivers, is going to be red zone threat. So when in the red zone, receivers with this ability have a better chance to win contested coverages against single coverage. So if you can get a one-on-one matchup with a tight end or a wide receiver, and you have this ability, it's very tough to score in the red zone. So that's why goal line back is super underrated, and I think red zone threat is another one that is underrated as well. We end the video with the best offensive lineman abilities, and we'll keep this pretty simple. At the end of the day, secure protector is easily the best ability, and the offensive linemen that can get it for 0 AP are going to be fairly expensive for that reason. So on your left and right tackle, you need to have one or the other, secure protector or edge protector. Now secure is going to be better and edge is going to be cheaper in a lot of cases, and you never want to put both of them on the same player because it just doesn't do anything special there. So if you can get a left or right tackle with 0 AP secure protector and it's in your budget, go for it. If you can't, you need to at least spend the 1 AP on secure protector or look for a edge protector for 0 AP. And it's also good on guards and centers. If you can get it for 0, that's great. It's tougher to spend it now with the 6 AP limit, but it's really good because this is going to limit or stop inside stuff, which is a really good ability on the defensive line, and it's just generally going to make your offensive linemen block better. Before that big 6 AP update, it was entirely possible. I mean, I did it to have secure protectors across your entire offensive line. So secures on your left and right tackle, and if you can't afford the AP or the player, you need to at least go with edge protector. Then we have, basically just depending on your style of play here. If you like to run the ball, you're going to go nasty shriek. Blockers with this ability will frequently attempt and win impact blocks against linebackers and defensive backs. And with so many people playing a dollar coverage on defense, you're going to match up a lot of times against defensive backs on that second level of the football field, and it's just going to help your run game a ton. So nasty streak is great for running. As far as passing goes, I don't know if one of these is better than the other, but you have post up. Blockers with this ability are almost guaranteed to win any double team block that they are engaged in. So post up is really better for passing the ball there. And then the other one's going to be all day, which I can't find on the list here. There it is. Blockers with this ability will allow less frequent shed attempts by their block target. With all three of those abilities that I just mentioned, I still really would only be using them if you get them for 0 AP. To me, it just doesn't feel like they're worth spending it on. Now, two abilities that I think are worth 1 AP, and one of them you can get for free a lot of times, one you can't, is going to be threat detector. So during pre-play, players with this ability will highlight any oncoming blitzers on 3rd and 4th downs. With so many people running dollar and DB fire and blitzing all over the place, this one can be bluffed, but it's super beneficial. And even with the 6 AP update, I still have threat detector on my field. I think I have it on the John Madden left tackle, who gets this plus secure protector for only 1 AP. Best left tackle in the game, plus he gets all 32 team chems. So that one I really just can't live without. If you're playing competitive, you're going to want it. If you don't, you just play against the computer, it's probably not a big deal. And then the other one's identifier. There's a ton of players that get this for 0 AP, so you can probably not spend any of your 6 AP limit on it, but this allows you to basically see who your opponent is usering, so it always gives you a good idea of maybe what side of the field to stay away from. Also, you'll catch your defender trying to maybe switch over to a different user and they get stuck on the D-line or a safety, and you can quick snap the ball there, catch them out of position, and maybe make a big play downfield. So those are two of the, not common, I shouldn't say not common, but not like you need them abilities, but they're really, really good, and if you can afford them, you're going to want to go out and get them. So there you have it. Those are all of the best abilities right now that you should be using on offense with the 6 AP limit. Thank you guys for watching. My name is Popular Stranger, and I'm out. Peace.